For those of you watching who are gay and who've always known that they were gay, I'm curious if there were any dead giveaways during your childhood, like any signs that you were gay, other than the obvious of being attracted to guys, knowing even as a kid that you were attracted to other boys or to men. For me, my toys that I played with, I feel give it away. I had a lot of hand-me-downs from my brothers that were more traditionally masculine toys, and I loved playing with those too. I loved action figures. I had a lot of like the superhero action figures, the Batmans, the Supermans, and I played with cars and stuff like that. But those weren't the toys that I naturally gravitated towards. Meanwhile, I have distinct memories of going to Toys R Us and just being enthralled by the Barbie aisle. I remember there was an entire aisle of just pink boxes, and it was all the different variety of, you know, the garden variety of Barbies that exist. And it was almost like lust. It was like this forbidden fruit that I so desperately wanted a taste of. So I had a few Barbies growing up, and luckily my parents were not judgy about it, weren't weird about it. But I loved playing with Barbies. Like, it was so fun to me. It felt like being I guess a fashion designer, that you try all these different looks. That was the most fun part, I think, was dressing them up, dressing them down, trying different combos of looks. I loved Polly Pocket. What's also interesting is that if I played video games, those of you who grew up in the 80s or 90s will remember this. Oftentimes you could pick between 5 to 10 characters, right, as your lead character that you're playing in the game. And usually there would be one female character. And I often would pick the female character. So with Street Fighter, for those of you who remember Street Fighter, I would always pick Chun-Li. I don't know why I was drawn to Chun-Li, the one female character, but I would always choose her. Now, obviously, does this mean that you're going to be gay because you want to be the female character? No. But I just think it all kind of adds up together, you know? And even the more masculine toys that I had, or like the action figures that I mentioned, some of them I just thought were so attractive. I was like, oh, I wish Batman would come to life. But the final sort of giveaway for me was that I was obsessed with the Power Rangers. And I had every action figure. I had every single one except one, and it was for a specific, intentional reason. I had every action figure of the Power Rangers except the Pink Ranger. Kimberly, as she was known on the show, the Power Rangers show. Beautiful girl, by the way. But I resented her. And I resented her because on the show, she was in a relationship with Tommy, the white Power Ranger, who I had a crush on, naturally. One of those action figures, again, that I wanted to come alive. And I resented Kimberly because she had Tommy and Tommy had her. And who did I have? Just these toys. So I had every action figure except for the Pink Power Ranger. So when I look back at my childhood, there were a lot of signs, I feel, and I don't know how my parents just ignored it. I guess they intellectualized that being gay is very different from what toys you play with, which is fair. But in my case, I feel like it was a dead giveaway. I'm curious if you guys relate to this at all. And if so, what toys for you were like your dead giveaways that you were gay kids? And I'm particularly interested like across generation, right? Because every generation has different gender cues and also just different toys that are celebrated for boys and for girls. So let me know in the comments.